Yeah, you could definitely add this movie right here to that single tier club. Or more, depending on how sensitive you are as a human being. That doesn't include me, obviously. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to MaffmanJones Movie Reviews. I'm your host, John Maffio, and today's featured movie is Southpaw, the latest boxing sports drama. It stars the one and only Jake Gyllenhaal, Rachel McAdams, Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, Forrest Whitaker, among others. The story is about this undisputed lightweight boxing champion of the world, Billy Hope, who has been on the rise in his career. He's done nothing but great success. He has a great family, he has a wife, he has a young daughter, lots of money. He's won over 40 matches in a row. But then, out of nowhere, suddenly, due to his untimely and very sporadic angry actions, a tragedy occurs, and it sends him into a downward spiral. Can he get out of it? That was a very vague description of the movie, but believe me, if you haven't watched the trailers, that's a good thing. Go into this movie clean. Please. I was excited for this movie for two reasons. One, Jake Gyllenhaal. If you look at his resume, it's amazing. Bubble Boy? But every other movie is fantastic. And also, it's a boxing movie. Now, not every boxing movie out there is great, but you got the Rocky movies, and you got Creed coming out later this year, which I think is going to be even better. But you know what? Even after watching this movie, Creed had a lot to live up to, because Southpaw was a fantastic sports movie about the psyche of an angered man who is thrown into the chaos of a very, very terrible situation when he's had it pretty good for the most part with his career, even though he had a supposedly terrible childhood. He rose up from the streets, became a great boxing champion, and then something really, really tragic happens, and he goes back into a downfall. But can he get out of this downfall and rise to the occasion for another match that could bring him back to that glory that he once had? This movie was so powerful and emotional. Things occur in this movie time and time again, consistently, that will make you want to cry. This movie is very emotional, sometimes manipulative, thanks to the great score by the late James Horner, who this movie was made in memory to. But there is very raw, powerful, emotional stuff too. It's obviously influenced and inspired by the great Rocky movies out there, among other sports movies that have been made over the past 20, 30, 40 years. But the performances, along with the story, along with the arcs that occur from beginning to end over a 3-act structure, will create an experience for most people, in my opinion, that will leave you very satisfied, but emotionally drained. My heart hurt so much watching this movie. It really did. In essence, it's a movie that takes a character through a very mental struggle. Because a lot of the time, it's not the physical that hurts the most, it's the mental. And when you put through so much trauma and tragedy and just a very inconvenient mess of a situation, can you overcome the obstacles that are thrown at you? Jake Gyllenhaal really throws himself into this role like he does for every other movie. You don't believe, you know he's Jake Gyllenhaal, but he also plays the character so well that you forget he's Jake Gyllenhaal. He's ripped, he's raged, he's crazy, but he has to learn to control that rage throughout this movie. And you believe the journey from beginning to end, where he has to fight his mental self that has been really angered for a long time. He has to learn to control that anger. Kind of like the Hulk, you know? Forrest Whitaker is in this movie too, and he is to Jake Gyllenhaal as Mickey was to Rocky Balboa, and he's a very great mentor. He hasn't been in the greatest movies lately, but he was very competent in this role, and I believed him, and he was also emotional. He gave a very powerful performance with Jake Gyllenhaal together. They made for a great duo. Everybody else in this movie does give a good performance, even 50 Cent, who is a rapper, and he hasn't been in the best of movies either, gives a good performance here, but that has also in credit to the writing and the directing. This, in my opinion, is one of those films that if you really want to delve into it and get more into the movie, you have to spoil details. And I don't want to spoil details for it. This movie is a really great experience going into it clean. It's a boxing movie, it's a drama, it's a sports movie. It has laughs, it's got some humor in it, but it works in context with the film. And it's a movie that I feel like it's rated R. It's not for everybody age-wise, but if you're of appropriate age, definitely watch this movie. It's also a fantastic movie about a character going through very, very heavy obstacles. And especially if you like boxing. If you're a fan of the Rocky movies, the good ones anyway, because the only bad one is 5 in my opinion, you will really enjoy this movie. And I do see possible Oscar noms for Jake Gyllenhaal because his performance, as always, fantastic. I'm going to give Southpaw a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It didn't quite get there because some of the pacing was a little off, and I feel like it gets to the end a little bit quick. I feel like I could have had a couple more scenes to flesh out certain characters and certain plot elements, but it's a near perfect movie, in my opinion. I was invested from beginning to end. Fantastic. It's mafadociously darn good. But now I want to know from you guys, what did you think of Southpaw? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and check out Facebook and Twitter in the info box. I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones, and if Creed ends up being better than this movie, I don't think I'm ready for that level of feels. Because this movie brought so many feels. If that movie, Creed, could bring more feels than Southpaw, I will not leave the theater alive. Shit. See you guys next time.